Because it's set in a modern setting, I think it's going to be very kind of close for a teenager to see. That it's going to be relatable, and they're going to be like, oh, that's me up there. Or like, oh, I felt that way. Or, oh, yeah, mom hasn't listened to me. Like, mom's not listening to Juliet. Or like, oh my God, I remember my first kiss. Or whatever it might be. I do think because it's not kind of separated in like traditional, like they see it, and it's not necessarily maybe like a period costume, which is also amazing and which also I love to explore. I do think it being just physically in a modern context will help them have it close to home, and I do think that's important, especially because Shakespeare is so that's why Shakespeare can be so relatable and it can be used throughout, because the themes and the way he captures youth, was relative then and now is relative now. Mm-hmm. So I think that, yeah, it would be great.
Yeah. Well, I think that love thing is just, it's always there for people in one way or another. Whether you have students who will look at it like, hey, that's me. Like, I'm in love for the first time and that's how I feel. And I wish people would get me, Mm-hmm. Or if it's just, an older person who is bitter about love. There's a character in the show for that. Like, Shakespeare did such a great job of, throughout the show, putting all these different viewpoints on love. And I think that's what's so great about it, is that people who have seen it, even 10 years ago when it was done here, or 20 years, 25, whatever, when it was done the very first show they ever did, that, there will be something that they can connect to. And I think that's what's so great as a cast. Everybody sort of is figuring out where they fit in that story. Mm-hmm. And I think, I always love afterwards hearing somebody say, who just latches on to Benvolio, because they connect to the friend watching the friend and how painful that is, and how you can't, all those things that I just love, that you're always surprised at what connects for different people, and so I think that's sort of what people will come. They'll see reflections of themselves, and I think if we do our job right, they'll forget the ending.
Mm-hmm.
That they'll be hoping that somehow we've changed the script, that the inevitable doesn't happen, because they are seeing it for a new time, maybe not the first time, but for a new time, and yeah, so I think that'll be what our goal is anyway.